Okay, I'm back with something a little bit different to usual, and that's a how to draw video. Now, it's not going to be from start to finish, but you know, as you can see, I've already got a sketch done already. Basically, just a circle, done the centre line, marked roughly where the eyes were, done the chin, and then you work from there to get a rough likeness. You see, I haven't done any details or anything. You see, the hair's very blocky and everything. But I've drawn in the eyes and the markings she has. But because I've done that, I'm just labelling layers as one as sketch and one as ink. Now you go on the sketch layer, you put the transparency down. We're using Clip Studio Paint, otherwise known as Manga Studio. It's fantastic. I've only had it a couple of weeks, but love it. Anyway, I've made my other layer. Now, the inking layer I'm making is a vector layer, so basically you can upscale it and everything without worrying about losing any clarity in the lines. Whereas in a raster layer, well, you usually do, I think. You just look it up. You know, I don't know it all, but anyway. So what we're going to start with, I've set on me pen up and everything, and we're just going to not completely trace over the sketch, but we're going to use it as a guide. And you say, the good thing about being on a computer is you can just delete lines that you put in. And on this particular program, as far as I know, you can delete, or well, say undo as many times as you like. So another brilliant thing about it, I guess. So yeah, so it's a bit slow. I'm not going to skip anything, you just fast forward or something. But yeah, depending on how good your sketch is, you might be able to just, for the most part, trace straight over it. But as I say, I'm only using mine as a guide. Once all the line work is done, we're going to do some flat colours, and then afterward on a different layer, and then we'll add another layer on top of that for shadows and things. It's not going to be anything special, it's just a very basic tutorial. I'm not the best colourist out there. I favour just line work more. I usually work before this I preferred pencil, but computer's just so much easier. Anyway, actually in the comments, if you would like to see particular characters or a tutorial going more in depth, that'd be great. Just as I say, put it in the comments, that'd be really useful. And yeah, I'm not sure how many of these I'm gonna do though, because obviously if you look on my channel, it's actually for a game I'm making. It's still happening. It's just projects like that, you know, money and things like that. It's a bit pants, but you know, I'm doing this in the meantime, just so there's some content on here that's actually useful. And yeah, all these lines though. Back onto the actual drawing rather than just talking nonsense. It's a lot easier if you can do one straight line when you're inking, like just a nice big sweeping motion, because you get your lines a lot cleaner and everything. Whereas if you do lots of little bits at a time, you end up getting sort of jaggies and it just looks a bit messy. So yeah, try and make big sweeping bits. Just ends up smoother. And the faster you do it, the smoother it'll be. I mean, obviously, this program has a stabilization tool, so that's really useful. But you know, you still have to have reasonably straight lines in the first place, to be honest. Yeah. I think the next video I do, I might see if I can go about time-lapsing it. I want to talk, but it's sort of self-explanatory at this point. You can see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just following the basic line of my sketch and then putting in the jaggy hair up to that point, and I've just messed that up. But you can undo as many times as you like. I can undo this whole face if I wanted to. Doesn't matter. I don't know if anyone's played it, but there's a really good game called Odin Sphere. I recently started a picture of one of the main characters, Gwendolyn. So I'll be uploading that to my DeviantArt page, which is just Andrew Sutton on DeviantArt. I'll probably post a link or put a video of it or something. Just one of those things. I think it's cool. Great game though. If you haven't played it, definitely play it. I believe they're doing a remastered version with extra stuff for the PS3 or PS4, something like that. And I believe it's coming out in March, but I don't know if that's the Japanese one or if it's for everyone else as well. I'm a bit disappointed if it's only Japan released, but oh well. Okay, we just do the bottom of her hair. Again, you see I've already marked where the hair ends, roughly. So, I mean, you can always go past it as I am, but let's say it is a guide. But you just put your little jaggies in there. And the hair. It's all good. Yeah, definitely going to time-lapse it. Next time. See, I'm recording the narration afterwards, whilst I'm watching the video, and I've just realised I didn't connect the last part of our left earring, so it's sort of floating mid-air. It's a bit. Although I think I've joined that up later with colour anyway, but still, looking at the moment is annoying. Although I've actually done a rough of the top of the torso, I'm not actually going to colour that bit in or anything. I'm just going neck upwards because I can't be bothered. Just reviewing my reference a little bit there. So I was viewing my reference on a separate screen, but when it came to recording and I was going to be doing the lines, I just wanted something quicker to look at. So I won't spend too long on the chest. It's all you need really there. Okay, I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. And yeah. Well, until it gets to the colouring bit, I've got my layer for that. And as I say, it's a raster layer for the colour, because vector layers you can't block fill. By the way, this is no means perfect drawing. The colouring and the shading is going to be quite basic, but you can spend as long as you like on a picture. If you want it to look a certain way, you just got to keep adding to it, And a good way of being able to make changes without worrying about ruining your picture, just add layers. If there's something you want to add that you're not too confident about adding, add a layer on top. Say you're adding, I don't know, some shadows in a questionable area or somewhere you don't feel confident doing it. Add that layer on top of all of them, meaning top of the list. Just see how it looks. Have a go, and then if you don't like it, you can just delete it without worrying at all. I wish on the eyes I'd just coloured them on the colour layer and just block filled them. Colouring in with vectors is tedious. Get rid of my sketch because the selection tool seems to pick that up as well. Because I've got reference other layers, which I always leave on for when I'm colouring. Nearly there. Suppose I could just cut this bit out. Yeah, let's do that. Nope, never mind. There's something wrong with this particular video. I can't. It's not splitting up in the same way. I'm using Movie Maker, and usually it splits it up into segments and things when I usually do videos, and for some reason it's not doing it the same way, and I don't know how to change it. So I'll just have to time lapse the next video, I guess. Bit pants, but you can always just skip ahead by about a minute. I think it's about a minute. Almost there. that's all right. Yeah. So switch to the color layer and put that under the ink layer because otherwise, well, your color's going to be on top of your ink and it'll be useless. Anyway, select all the bits you want to colour the same. So I'm doing all the hair bits. I'm sure I'll see if I've missed any once I actually click colour. I'm only going for an approximation of the colour as well. She's got brown hair, you know. It can be tricky to find the right colour sometimes, so I'm just doing an approximation. That's not right. Change it a bit lighter. It's close. So you could fiddle with this all day, but you know. Stick with that. It's a bit dark, but well, it's not. It's dark. It's just the wrong tone of brown. But bleh, doesn't matter. It's brown. If you were doing your own picture and you want to change to a lighter brown or more chocolatey brown or whatever you want to call it, go for it. You know, it's your picture. Anyway, actually, talking about the hair and layers and everything. Some people I've seen do a separate layer for skin and hair and clothes. You know, same as same as the shading layers as well. They have the separate folders as well with different layers. But I can't be bothered with that. Not for this anyway. I've done plenty of pictures where I have. It does make it a little bit easier sometimes when you're adding shadows and stuff like that, because you can just hide stuff and have a bit more freedom. But for this tutorial, we're just going to have all the colour on the same layer, all the shadows on a different layer. Okay. That's a bit bright. Well, I can always just darken it up with the shadows later. Right. According to that reference, she has grey eyes, but I don't think she does. I can't remember. I think they're more of a very light brown, hazily colour. Well, cross. Okay. So useful. So the picture's starting to take shape. Her hairband's more or less black, but I'm not going to put it as completely black. Just more or less black. Eyebrows are brown too, but I don't think it looked right. Nah, that looks weird. Nah, just make those black-ish. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Alright, so just mark off the edge of the earring. That's the colour I want the earring. That way you can use the wand, select that area, and not have to worry about drawing a black line. See? Easy peasy. So useful. See? And now the earring's actually connected to her ear. Let's do our eyes. Let's do a bit of shading around the pupil, just to give it a bit more something to it. Although, hang on, I'm going to rub that out and do a block colour. I don't know why I've used the airbrush. Because basically, once you delete your background colour, in this case white, you're just going to be able to see right through the eyes if you don't block colour it. Which is why you block colour it and then add the shading on top. Say you wanted to just, I don't know, paste the character onto a different picture or something like that. I don't know, whatever. You'll notice when you zoom in on, say, the eyes, if you did it that way, you could see through to whatever's behind it, which would be a bit pants. So, cover your tracks, block fill stuff, and then add your shading on top. See? A little extra shading around the pupil just gives it a bit more depth. Again, it's not perfect, but as I say, I'm trying to make this tutorial as quick as possible. So I haven't made one before, so it's kind of a trial and error thing with how to do the next one. Maybe the next one will just be on eyes. It doesn't always have to be manga either. It can be for realistic stuff as well. If you look at my Demon Art page, I've actually got some portrait stuff on there. They're not brilliant, but you know, they do the job. Right, eyes are pretty much done. Again, with everything else, you could keep on going over it and adding stuff, but just to keep it simple. You've got a colour, you've got a shade, it's added depth, it's all good. I just remembered something I didn't do. Right, I'm pretty sure I've forgotten to do this in the video, but remember to white the eyes out, because I'm pretty sure I forgot to do that. We shall find out. Alright. Right, back onto what's actually happening. When shading, what I find personally works for me, that I just like how it looks, is I go, even though on this particular one I'm just using a very dark brown sort of colour, greyish brown, usually I use just a plain black on a very light density, and I just sort of shade over the face that way. Always, if there's, say, a hairline or something, I always add dark as possible under there. On this particular picture, it's more grey, so it hasn't got the same look, but I didn't want it to be too dark. That's quite good though, I think. I'm relatively happy with it. Yeah. So it's really it's this sketch at the beginning that helps you the most. So it sounds obvious, but you can make that sketch as messy as possible and not worry about any details, as long as it's got the shape you can see the picture through the scribbles, you know. So when it comes to the inking, all you're doing is refining the sketch you've got and picking out those details. Because I know a few people I know, when they draw, what they do when they sketch is they try to draw the picture straight off, and because they're so focused on getting it right first time, they end up taking forever on just a sketch when it should just be an approximation. So if you look at my sketch at the beginning, I've just done a circle, I marked out the face roughly where I want it, put a neck in, made a block of hair rather than actually trying to put any detail in, and then having a look at it thinking, yeah, I can work with that. Put 2 circles in for the eyes and work from there. You've got to start it from basic. If you try to put too much in while you've still got a blank page, then you're just going to be fighting yourself, basically. Scribble sketching is... oh, it's brilliant. Yeah. With the shading, actually, again, I think you notice by now, because I use an airbrush on this, you get a sort of a cloudy effect on the skin. Some people might not like it. Personally, I think it looks kind of cool, but it's preference, really. My brother thinks it looks messy, but I don't know, I like the way it looks. So if you'd want to just mark it out and block fill it or something like that, again, it's up to you. I personally like the sort of cloudy effect on the skin. Anyway, remember to put plenty of dark under the chin. Again, usually I'd make it darker than that just to, I don't know, make it pop. But yeah, when you have done those lines, increase your brush size and put a bit more lighter shadow. See, I'm doing it now. About 80, that's not really big enough. Well, yeah, but you know, you get the idea. So you sort of work from the darkest point to the lightest point, and it sort of blends in, makes the object look rounder. Basic stuff, really. Again, I'm not going to spend very long doing it. This, as I said, a very basic shading. I could spend hours shading, but you're not going to watch that. So just give you the approximation here. It still does the trick. I mean, you know. Almost done, actually. I think we've just got to do the hair and the hairband. That's it, really. I'm not going to do the lower body. Just the face. There's enough to look at there. Yeah, I regret my decision to darken those marks. I liked them redder. Oh well, doesn't matter. Actually, if anyone's still watching at this point, not a big fan of narrating stuff. Mainly because I do not like the sound of my voice on record. It just sounds so meh. You know? Meh. Hopefully I don't actually sound like that in real life, and it's just a bad microphone or something. But yeah. Alright, remembering to shade under anything that might cast a shadow, like the hairband. I've done a bit there. There'd be a bit of shadow going up because of the hair would be bunching a little bit at there, as you can see, and bunching under, shadowing underneath as well as any of the hair as well. As well. Remember to, like I said earlier, remember to comment and let me know if you want to see something else. When I've got I say time, when I think of something good to make for the game as a video, then I'll do that too. But for now, it'll be drawing tutorials. 'Cause when it comes to the game stuff, I want to show something cool, something interesting. Whereas right now, all I'm doing is making models and things, and that's really boring to watch. I do have a video of modelling some things, but they're not particularly interesting. Maybe I'll upload them. I don't know. We'll see. I'll have a think about it. Right, then you got your picture. This is pretty much done, to be honest. I mean, you could go for. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Just shading the whatever that thing is in the headband. You could carry on shading the picture. I mean, this one is not brilliant, but you know, it's got a bit more depth. It's doing what it's supposed to do. You could spend as long as you want on it, but yeah, this is, you know, it's fine for what we're trying to do. It's fine. Always add shadow where looking at the object, it's likely to cast a shadow under hairlines, under noses, under your chin. Anyway, so we're going to delete everything, go to the sketch, see where we started from, go to the ink layer, where we went to, delete the sketch layer. So we just had the ink, then block colours, and on top the shadow, how we finished off. So if you didn't like the shadow,